Hey, VCers, Tony here again. Tony's LPs are us. Thanks for stopping in. This is a quick segment I just wanted to do on my impressions of the flipping and funding phenomenon that we've seen for the last 4 or 5 years. And this is only regarding One Step and UHQR LP box sets, the 45 RPM or the 33 RPM. Originally, the first one, the first One Step was the Santana Abraxas, and that kind of came in under the radar at $99 at the time, and only maybe 1,000 or 2,000 pressed. I'm not really quite sure on that, but the number was low. That's an exception to what I'm going to talk about today, for as far as flipping and funding of these. Flipping and funding for a profit, flipping and funding to fund more record buying or just as a quick business. So, there's a few exceptions, and I'm just going to give you, I'll note the exceptions as well. Like I said, Santana's Abraxas LP, which was the first One Step from Mobile Fidelity. And, that's right now, that record's in the stratosphere, $2,000, $3,000 sealed, maybe $1,500 to $2,000 pre-owned or what have you. But like I said, that was the first one. That was under the radar. It was a really low production number. And the original One Steps and original HQRs from 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, were low production numbers, 6,000, 3,000, 5,000. And now we're seeing, for example, Asia, I believe it were 20,000 pressed. Kind of Blue, the UHQR Kind of Blue was over 20,000 pressed, etc. So as those numbers go up, of course, the resale value may go down. But is that the only reason? The other reasons could be that, people really don't see the value in some of these reissues from MoFi and UHQR Analog Productions. So there's a lot of reasons why this flipping and funding, I believe, is dead. And I'll give you some numbers. I did some quick research the other day. I just went on eBay and just did what things are selling for and what things are sold for in the last 90 to 100 days. So we have a window there of the last 3 months or so. But here's some examples. Here you have the Elvis, highly anticipated Elvis. I did a review on it. I love it. Sounds great. Originally was $150, I believe. I'm not sure of the numbers. Maybe 10,000 made of these, 10,000. And, they're selling on eBay now for under $99. So just an example, if you bought a couple of these to flip, buy 2 for $150 in anticipation of selling it for $300 and paying for your original, that's not happening anymore. Here we have the UHQR Axis Bold as Love. This is a 33, but it's excellent. Now, these go for about the same price as you would buy them new at this point online. The mono version of this, of course, which was limited, that's in the upper stratosphere, $600, $700 for the mono of this record. But the stereo, more were printed. It's not as desirable. I didn't buy the mono. I wish I had. I bought the stereo, not knowing that of what the mono, was going to become. It was probably half the production of the stereo copy. Here's another example of. I think these were selling for $125, $99 new. This is, of course, Thriller, the much anticipated Thriller from MoFi. And actually, the MoFi that brought down the MoFi mystique of all analog tapes being used, because we discovered when this record came out that it was not feasible for them to make 40,000 of these using the original analog tape. So this kind of brought this one record could have brought the market into, you know, a more logical realm where things weren't just being paid for astronomically just because the record was sold out or whatever. So this record, $99 new plus shipping and taxes, you're figuring $125. It's selling on eBay right now for about $99. And if you were the person that was flipping and funding and flipping these with the fees of eBay, which is 15 to 20%, you're not even breaking even. They have to pay income tax on any profit, so you're not even breaking even. So I think that whole window, that whole ceiling, what have you, has been lowered quite a bit. Here's another example: the Unplugged. I believe this was 10,000 copies, which isn't a lot. Because like I said on some previous videos, I worked in a record store in Elizabeth, Volvo's Records, and we may have sold in a month 10,000 copies of The Stranger by Billy Joel, or the Rumors, Fleetwood Mac, or any other hot record at the time in one store. So 10,000 copies in that era wasn't a lot of copies. But here, when a record's $150 plus shipping and handling, brings it up to about $170. That's a lot of money. But this record now is selling for between $100 and $150 on eBay. So those folks who bought that record in anticipation of doubling their money or making 50, 60 bucks on it, that's not happening. If you're buying this for $170 through Music Direct or another that sells MoFi, One Steps, you're actually losing money. If you break even, you're doing pretty good. Here's another example. Just this one, which was great, right? Great. 10,000 copies of There Goes Rhymin' Simon. Now these were originally, I believe, 150. I'm getting them mixed up. They originally were 99, 125, 150. So you figure 150 plus shipping and handling, they come to about 170, depending on the distributor. So right now they're on eBay new for under $99. So it's just the flipping and funding of these, I believe, is dead. There are exceptions. You have the Bob Marley Exodus, which was a very limited run from Analog Productions that came in under the radar. That was 150 plus shipping and handling, 170, and they're selling around 300. They were selling for more. I think the prices come down to about 269. So in that case, the seller is making some type of a profit, but with those records, there was one to a customer. It sold out within the first 1 or 2 days that it was offered. Probably the first day. I did a video on it where when it was announced by Analog Productions, Acoustic Sounds, actually crashed their website because it just came out of the blue. It wasn't advertised. It wasn't anticipated, and it crashed their website. So that's an exception. Also above, I have, very happy to have it, my copy of the Fagan Nightfly, which was a maybe 125 at the time without shipping and taxes. That record now is going between $400 and $500 and maybe more, but that's an exception. I think there was 6,000 of those printed. So I'm going to go over some of my notes here, if you allow me so. But before I start, I want to thank everyone again for dropping in, checking out this video, liking and subscribing. I really appreciate all the subscriptions. I'm very happy with the way the channel's going. I'm going to try to do more content. So if you have any ideas about, something that you want me to do, please do so. I try to answer every comment. I love people contributing to the channel via the comments. People read those, and it actually, it actually generates some type of interest in that particular video or that particular genre in which I'm talking about. But thanks for everyone for subscribing. If you're a new viewer, or if you've been watching some of my videos and haven't subscribed, please do so. I really appreciate it. And we really appreciate all the likes and everything. We have Elvis here again, hanging out with us. He's not allowed to talk because of copyright infringement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over my list. Like I said, these are the majority of the one steps in UHQR that recently were released. And like I said, there are exceptions: the Abraxas, the night fly, things of that nature. Most of them are if you're flipping flipping for funding or flipping for profit, you're not really making money if you're using eBay. There might be other platforms where the fees aren't as high, or you're able to get more money, or if you're able to sell it privately, obviously you're not going to pay eBay's commission. But for the most part, this flipping and funding of the one step in the UHQR box sets, I believe that's dead. The numbers don't lie. Originally, Chad Kassem of Acoustic Sounds would come out and say, buy now or cry later. That was his mantra: buy now, cry later, which I love, because if you didn't jump on the one step when it came out, the one step probably sold out in about 3 or 4 weeks when it was announced, then you're crying. But those are exceptions. Right now, the Van Halens are going for less than what they're offered for as new off the websites. And I'm going to go over some of the examples here for you. I mentioned the Clapton. Now, the Clapton original Unplugged was $150. It's now selling on eBay between $105 and $150. Some of them are selling for $150 open, but the majority of them are sealed $150. So you're losing money there if you're flipping. The Bob Dylan Blood on the Tracks, which was originally $150, which is a fantastic record. Just sounds so good. Bob Dylan is in the room. $150. That's now selling for about $150, $160. Like I said, Abraxas was originally $100, a very limited run, maybe $1,000, $2,000. That's up to $2,000. Simon and Garfunkel, The Bridge Over Troubled Water, I believe, was originally $125. That's selling in the $200 to $300 range. So in that case, you're going to make a profit, but you're holding on to that record for a long time. That record has been out, has been published for a few years now, maybe 3 or 4 years. This was surprising. The Charles Mingus, which I believe was a UHQR, $150. It's only selling for $185, so you're losing money there. The Nightfly, like I mentioned, was $125. That's up there, $500, $600 sealed. Ryman Simon, you could get a brand new one for $99, and they were selling for between $125 and $150. Crosby, Stills and Nash, the original first record of Crosby, Stills and Nash, original one step was $150. They're selling new on eBay between $89 and $94. Now, I have that record and I haven't opened it yet, but I didn't really hear negative reviews. I just think that the ceiling has hit the top, or we have hit the top of that ceiling. A lot of these records are upside down as far as value, as if you remember a few years ago, mortgages were upside down. People had mortgaged their houses, and the houses were worth less than what the mortgage was, and that's the term upside down. Here we have the Marvin Gaye, which was a great record. That was $150 new. That's a one step. That's selling for $150 new on eBay. So losing money for the seller, a gain for the buyer. These are all positive notes for the buyer who didn't buy these when they were initially released. So you may get a bargain, or you're paying a little bit less than full price. The Eagles first was one. The Eagles one step. All the Eagles were released on one steps. I believe they're all released yet, but the whole series was advertised as being released. Now Desperado is selling between $96 and $160 on eBay, sold. sealed, they were originally 150. First Eagles between 125 and 114 and 125. Yes, Fragile, which was 150, it's a great record. I did not get that, but I have friends who love it. That's selling for about 199. So even with 199, the person who originally bought this and is flipping it paid about 170 for it, with taxes and shipping and all the other things that go with it. So that's a losing proposition. Eagles on the Border, 150 new, selling new on eBay now, sealed 119. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Texas Flood, now selling for about 200. It was originally 150, but you have to add in shipping and taxes, so not really a big profit margin, maybe $10, $15 for the seller. iRobot, which was a surprising one, which was very anticipated. Alan Parsons' project is between $76, $66, or $84 new, and they were originally selling for $150. Now, who let the dogs out? I hear my son's dog barking in the background there. Now we have Muddy Waters Folk Singer, which was a real disappointment because I believe that the MoFi double 45 LP had a higher review than the one step, the box set, and that's selling for $85 new, and that was $150. Eagles Hotel California, which I believe are still in print. You could actually get one on eBay or one sold on eBay for $137. You know, you also have shipping on eBay, so add another $10 to it plus taxes. So the seller there is not making any profit. Blood, Sweat, and Tears, the original album which was a one step, is selling between 119 and 179. Basically, 179 is the price that the seller would have most likely paid with taxes and shipping and that. Thriller, which was a big disappointment, the Michael Jackson that I held up, that's selling new for about $80, and that was $100 plus taxes and shipping. The problem with that is it didn't score so much more than the original first editions of that record, the original OGs, and 40,000 copies is quite a bit for an audiophile record that costs that much money. Here you have Janis Joplin, Pearl, which was highly anticipated. Great album, Janis Joplin's Pearl, pivotal album in her career, or her discography rather. $95 to $85, and some sold for $99. Elvis, from Elvis in Memphis, $130. That was originally, I believe, $150 plus tax. Monk's Dreams, $129 to $149. ELO El Dorado, which I was kind of confused on why they actually picked El Dorado. I don't think it's the strongest ELO album. It's a great album, don't get me wrong. But when you're dealing with this type of price range, is it the right one? Is it the right one to go with? But for whatever reason, El Dorado is selling between $82 and $87. So quite a savings for the ELO fan who didn't buy it originally, but maybe now has a better system, wants to start collecting audiophile records such as the MoFi and the UHQR. Like as mentioned before, the Bob Marley Exodus was $150 plus tax. That's selling between $270, $290 or so around that range. So that's a bit of a profit. Asia, which is I believe Steely Dan's Asia on the UHQR. UHQR Analog Productions are doing all the Steely Dan's. Asia was just released a few months ago. I gave it a great review. It's the best you're going to hear, unless you have a reel-to-reel, first print reel-to-reel, whatever it is. I think that Asia record at 45 RPM is the best you're going to ever hear Asia, and everyone says that. It's not just my opinion; it's everyone's opinion. And these are all. What I'm talking about is basically just my opinion, and for the most part. But Asia now is $150 plus I just got one, 150 plus taxes and shipping fees. It's about 170, 175, and they're selling on eBay right now for 163. But then again, I believe 40,000 copies. It hasn't sold out yet. People are still putting them on eBay, and so that's whatever that is. That is Can't Buy a Thrill is basically selling for what it costs, 150. Countdown to Ecstasy, basically 150, 125 to 150. Are You Experienced? Stereo, Jimi Hendrix, 106, 129, 150. The Kind of Blue, which was the original UHQR of Miles Davis, there was 33 and there was a 45 issue. And I believe now the 45 issue is going between $95 and $120. So that's a big discount from what you would have bought it from Analog Productions. So when Chad is saying now, buy now or cry later, that's not really the case anymore. Like I said, the ceiling has been reached. There's a lot of people trying to flip these. Originally, it was a select few. You could buy 2 copies of a UHQR, and after it's sold out, you can make basically double your money, get your UHQR for your funding and flipping. If you're doing it for a profit, then whatever profit you had was done. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I know a lot of people would gripe that the non-collectors are buying 3 or 4 of these copies, 5 copies, and selling them at a profit. But hey, anyone could do it. If you want to take that chance and invest $1,000 in 4 records, feel free to do it. Like I said, and now it's not even a profit. There's not even a profit there anymore. If you hold on to these things for maybe 10 years, for instance, the Thriller sells out and you have a copy that's 10 years old, someone down the road will probably pay you $200, $300 for it, I'm sure. And as inflation eats away at our money, the money's not worth what it was anyway. Aqualung, which was a UHQR, which is a great UHQR, double 45. I believe that was originally 150, 170 with tax. That's selling between 249 and 300. Those were selling for a lot when they initially sold out, but then that supply is exhausted and there's only a few up, and most folks who really want it have it, and most folks who want it now can't afford it, so the prices come down. But I believe the flipping and funding aspect of the one-step in UHQR is dead. The numbers don't lie. You could go on eBay right now and see it, and just want to hear what your opinion is. Like I said, I don't mind people flipping and funding. People buy used records all the time, flipping and funding. I believe there's more profit now in buying used records at a flea market or a thrift shop. If you're lucky enough to find something that's valuable, you could flip that and you could easily triple your money, easily quadruple your money. And, you might buy a $5 record and it's a $40 record. So, but these funding and flipping and funding one steps and UHQRs, like I said, the numbers don't lie. Go online. You could read it for yourself. I just want to put out an interesting footnote that really boggles my mind when I see for instance, say a Thriller that's being shipped from the UK to on eBay. It's being sold on eBay International from the UK, and it's going for double the price of what a domestic Thriller is. And I'm under the impression that these are all printed, these are all pressed and printed, and the jackets are printed at the same place, regardless of what country it's being shipped from. So that was always something that I was very curious about. If anyone has the answer, it's not just I'm just using the Thriller one step, but the Crosby, Stills and Nash, the Clapton. I know if it's coming from the UK, it's able to garnish more of a profit for or it's more expensive than a domestic than selling from a domestic seller on eBay. So I don't understand that. But that's my little spiel today. I want to thank everyone again, for dropping in. Like I said, I really appreciate the subscriptions, and we're really having a blast doing these quick videos for you. If you have any comments or any, like I said, any kind of shows or videos you want me to talk about, if you see anything in my collection that you want me to discuss, please feel free to do so, and I'll be happy to try to do that for you. But thanks again. Have a great day, and we'll be seeing you at the next LPs Are Us video. Thank you. Keep safe, and talk to you later. Bye.